My daughter and I had lunch together on a Thursday afternoon. When we left the restaurant, we accidentally grabbed each other's phones. We have the same model, same case, easy mistake. I didn't realize it until I got home at 3 p.m. and a text message popped up on the screen. It was from someone named Dr. Richard Mitchell. The message said, "I've reviewed the documents you sent. With the medical statements you're providing, we can definitely proceed with involuntary commitment. The judge will likely approve it within 72 hours. Once your mother is placed in the facility, you'll have full access to her accounts." I read it 3 times before my hands started shaking. I'm Patricia Whitmore, and I'm 60 years old. I live in a comfortable home in suburban Denver, Colorado, a house I've owned outright for 20 years. I'm a retired accountant, completely healthy, both physically and mentally. I have no cognitive issues, no mental illness, nothing that would warrant any kind of psychiatric evaluation. Yet here was a text message on my daughter's phone, discussing having me involuntarily committed to a psychiatric facility so she could access my bank accounts. My daughter Emma is 34 years old. She's my only child, and up until that moment, I thought we had a good relationship. We had lunch together every other Tuesday at the same Italian restaurant near her office. She'd tell me about her marketing job, her boyfriend Derek, her plans for the future. She seemed like a loving, normal daughter. But apparently, while we were eating pasta and talking about her upcoming vacation, she was secretly planning to have me declared mentally incompetent. I sat in my living room, staring at that text message, trying to make sense of it. Medical statements you're providing. What medical statements? I hadn't been to a doctor in 6 months, and that was just for a routine checkup. Everything had been perfectly normal. Involuntary commitment. That meant she was trying to have me locked up against my will. Full access to her accounts. My accounts. My money. Another text came through while I was still processing the first one. This one was from Emma to Dr. Mitchell. Perfect. I've documented 3 months of incidents showing her confusion and erratic behavior. My boyfriend witnessed 2 of them and is willing to testify. How much will the facility cost per month? Dr. Mitchell responded, "Private facilities run between $8,000 and $15,000 per month, depending on the level of care. But don't worry, we'll be using your mother's funds to pay for it." I felt sick. My own daughter was fabricating evidence of mental illness, getting her boyfriend to lie about witnessing incidents that never happened. Also, she could have me locked away and steal my money. I needed to think clearly. I needed to figure out how bad this was and what my options were. I opened Emma's text messages and started scrolling through her recent conversations. There were dozens of messages to Dr. Mitchell going back 3 weeks. She'd sent him documents, or at least claimed to. In one message, she wrote, "Attached are her bank statements. As you can see, she has approximately $1.2 million in various accounts, plus the house worth about $600,000. Once I have conservatorship, I can make all financial decisions." $1.2 million. She'd somehow accessed my financial information and calculated exactly what I was worth. The house was paid off, yes. And I'd been careful with money my whole life, saved aggressively, invested wisely. But I'd never discussed the specific amounts with Emma. How had she found out? I kept scrolling. There was a message to her boyfriend Derek. "The lawyer says we just need 3 documented incidents and 1 witness besides me. You met my mom twice. Just say you noticed her seeming confused and forgetful. It's not a big deal, we are just protecting her from herself." Derek's response, "I don't know, Em. Your mom seemed totally fine to me. This feels wrong." Emma. She's 60 years old and living alone. What if something happens to her? What if she falls or forgets to pay her bills? This way, I can make sure she's taken care of. Plus, once we have access to her accounts, we can finally buy that house we've been looking at. Think about our future. So that was it. Emma and Derek wanted to buy a house, and they'd decided my money was the solution. She was willing to have me declared mentally incompetent and locked in a psychiatric facility just to fund her real estate dreams. I found messages to someone named Dr. Sarah Chen, Psychiatric Evaluation Services. Emma had written, I need a full psychiatric evaluation for my mother. She's been showing signs of dementia and confusion. Can you do an assessment that would support involuntary commitment if necessary? Dr. Chen had responded with pricing and availability. $800 for a comprehensive evaluation. Emma had booked an appointment for next Monday at 10 a.m. An appointment I knew nothing about, but the worst messages were in a group chat with 3 of Emma's friends. She'd written, "Operation Free Money is moving forward. Lawyer says once mom's committed, I'll have full conservatorship within a month. No more struggling to pay rent. No more cheap vacations. Derek and I can finally live the life we deserve." One friend had responded, "Are you sure this is okay? I mean, isn't your mom healthy?" Emma, she's 60 and alone. She's going to need care eventually anyway. I'm just speeding up the process. And honestly, why should she sit on $1 million while Derek and I can barely afford a 1-bedroom apartment? It's not fair. I had to put the phone down. My own daughter thought she deserved my money more than I did. She thought it was not fair that I had savings from 40 years of hard work while she, at 34, hadn't built the same wealth yet. So her solution was to have me falsely declared mentally ill and imprisoned. The phone buzzed again. Another text from Dr. Mitchell. "I'll need those medical documents by Friday to file with the court on Monday. Make sure they're detailed. List specific dates, times, and behaviors. The more concrete evidence we have, the easier this will be." Emma responded immediately, "I'll have everything ready. Thank you so much for helping me protect my mother." Protect me. She was framing her theft and betrayal as protection. I sat there for maybe 20 minutes, just breathing, trying to control my anger and fear. Then I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront Emma yet. I was going to gather my own evidence first. I was going to document everything she was planning, and then I was going to stop her. I took photos of every single text message conversation on her phone. The messages to Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Chen, Derek, her friends. I took photos of her emails, her notes, everything. I uploaded them all to my personal cloud storage account. Then I carefully put her phone back in my purse. At 4:30 p.m., Emma called my phone. Of course, she was calling the phone she thought was mine, which was actually hers, so the call came to me. "Mom? Hey, I think we switched phones at lunch. I just got home and realized I have yours." I made my voice sound normal, cheerful even. "Oh, you're right. I didn't even notice. Should we meet up and swap back? I'm actually exhausted. Can we do it tomorrow? It's not like I need my phone tonight." I thought about those messages coming in, about Dr. Mitchell trying to reach her. "Sure, sweetheart. Tomorrow works. I'll come by your apartment around noon." "Perfect. Love you, Mom." "Love you too, Emma." I hung up and immediately called my attorney, Martin Brooks. I'd used him for years for estate planning and contracts. I told him everything. I sent him all the photos I'd taken from Emma's phone. "Patricia, this is extremely serious," he said after reviewing everything. "What your daughter is planning is fraud, potential kidnapping, theft, elder abuse. We need to act fast. She's planning to file papers on Monday. That gives us 4 days. What do I do?" "First, I'm going to file for a restraining order against Emma and Derek. We'll cite these messages as evidence of a credible threat. Second, I'm going to contact Dr. Mitchell's Bar Association. What he's doing is highly unethical, probably illegal. Third, we are going to make sure all your accounts are locked down. No one can access them without appearing in person with you. And fourth, I'm going to prepare a lawsuit. By the time we are done, Emma won't be able to do this to you or anyone else ever again." "She's my daughter," I said, my voice breaking. "I don't want to destroy her life." "Patricia, she was planning to destroy yours. She was planning to have you locked in a psychiatric facility against your will, to steal over $1 million from you, to take your home. This isn't a misunderstanding or a lapse in judgment. This is calculated, deliberate abuse. You need to protect yourself." He was right. I knew he was right. The next morning at 9 a.m., Martin filed the restraining order. By 10 a.m., it was approved. By 11 a.m., the police were serving Emma with the papers at her office. She called me at 11:15 a.m. Not on the swapped phone, but on my landline at home. She was screaming. "What did you do? The police just showed up at my work. I have a restraining order? Are you insane?" "No, Emma. I'm not insane. I'm also not confused, not forgetful, not suffering from dementia. I'm completely mentally competent, as you well know." There was a long silence. "I don't know what you're talking about. We switched phones yesterday, remember? And your texts came through. All of them. The messages to Dr. Mitchell about involuntary commitment. The messages to Dr. Chen about a fake psychiatric evaluation. The messages to Derek about using my money to buy a house. I saw everything, Emma." I heard her breath catch. "Mom, I can explain. I was just worried about you. You're getting older, and don't insult me by lying now. I have screenshots of everything. I have your messages saying Operation Free Money. I have you telling your friends that you deserve my money more than I do. I have you instructing Derek to commit perjury. I know exactly what you were planning. You don't understand. Derek and I are struggling. We can't afford. So your solution was to have me falsely declared mentally incompetent and locked in a psychiatric prison? To steal everything I've worked for my entire life. I wasn't going to steal it. I was going to use it to take care of you. By putting me in a facility that costs $15,000 a month while you and Derek buy a house with the rest? That's not care, Emma. That's theft with extra steps." She started crying. "I'm your daughter. How can you do this to me? How can you get a restraining order against your own child? How could you plan to have me committed?" I shot back. "How could you fabricate evidence of mental illness? How could you look me in the eye over lunch and smile while you were plotting to take my freedom and my money? What happens now?" Her voice was small, defeated. "Now, you stay away from me. The restraining order is in effect for 6 months. If you come near me, if you contact me, if you make any attempt to access my accounts or property, you'll be arrested. My attorney is filing complaints against Dr. Mitchell with the Bar Association. Dr. Chen is being notified that the evaluation you scheduled was based on false pretenses. And I'm considering pressing criminal charges for fraud and attempted elder abuse. Mom, please. I gave you everything, Emma. I raised you, supported you, loved you unconditionally. And you repaid me by trying to destroy my life for money. I need you to understand something. I'm not a piggy bank. I'm not an obstacle between you and the life you think you deserve. I'm a human being, and I'm your mother. What you did was unforgivable." I hung up before she could respond. Over the next few weeks, everything unraveled for Emma. Dr. Mitchell was suspended by the Bar Association, pending an ethics investigation. Dr. Chen's practice was flagged for participating in what appeared to be a fraudulent evaluation scheme. Derek broke up with Emma, apparently spooked by the legal trouble and the revelation of how far she'd been willing to go. Emma's friends, the ones in that group chat, stopped talking to her after the story got out. Turns out, planning to falsely imprison your mother for money isn't great for your social life. My attorney sent Emma a formal letter informing her that she was being removed from my will. Everything I'd planned to leave her would now go to charity. She'd get nothing. Not $1, not a photo album, not a piece of jewelry. She'd forfeited her inheritance the moment she tried to steal it. 3 months later, I got a letter from Emma. Not a text, not a call, but an actual handwritten letter delivered by mail. It was 6 pages long. She apologized, tried to explain, took responsibility, made excuses, all of it jumbled together. She said she'd been in therapy, that she was working on herself, that she understood now how wrong she'd been. She said she didn't expect forgiveness but hoped that someday, maybe, we could talk again. I read the letter once and put it in a drawer. Maybe someday I'd be ready to respond. Maybe not. What she'd done had broken something fundamental in our relationship, something I wasn't sure could be repaired. But here's what I learned from this experience: trust your instincts, document everything, and never assume that family loyalty goes both ways just because you've given it. I trusted Emma completely. I'd never imagined she could do something like this. And that trust almost cost me my freedom. The switched phones were an accident, a random twist of fate. But that accident saved my life. If we hadn't grabbed the wrong phones, if I hadn't seen those texts, Emma's plan would have moved forward. By Monday, Dr. Mitchell would have filed papers. By Tuesday, I might have been in front of a judge, confused and frightened, trying to prove my sanity while Emma presented her fabricated evidence. By Wednesday, I could have been locked in a psychiatric facility, drugged, isolated, helpless while my daughter liquidated my accounts. Instead, I'm home. Safe. Free. Financially secure. And I learned a valuable lesson about the daughter I thought I knew. Sometimes the worst betrayals come from the people closest to us. And sometimes, a simple mistake, like grabbing the wrong phone at lunch, is exactly what we need to see the truth in time.